call this meeting to order of the Howell Township Council at 6:03 p.m. Clerk Festina, will you please read the opening statement and recall the roll?
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided by transmitting the notice of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press, the Tri-Town News, and the Star Ledger. By placing the posting on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements in the Township Municipal Building, and by filing it with the municipal clerk on January 11th, 2022. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken. Roll call. Councilman Bonovich is absent at the moment. Councilwoman Brennan?
Present.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Present.
And Mayor Berger is absent.
Mr. Clark, is there a reason for us to go into executive session this evening?
Yes, there is, Deputy Mayor. We have issues involving personnel. We also have issues involving the purchase or sale of land.
Perfect. Clerk Vestino, please read the executive session resolution.
Authorizing an executive session September 13th, 2022, whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell is authorized pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 to exclude the public from the portion of this meeting for purposes of discussing specific matters as permitted by NJSA 10:4-12, and whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell intends to discuss certain matters which are deemed confidential pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 in executive session. Whereas at this time, the governing body of the Township of Howell cannot determine the time when the discussions to be held in executive session will be made public, but will disclose the minutes of the executive session when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Now therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Howell that this meeting shall be adjourned to an executive session, closed session, and the public will be excluded in order that the governing body of the Township of Howell may discuss the items listed below. The items are personnel matters, contracts, attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve Resolution R-22-300?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I hereby reconvene this meeting of the Howell Township Council. Roll call, please.
Councilman Bonovich is on his way. Councilwoman Brennan.
Present.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Richmond.
Present.
And Mayor Berger is absent this evening.
Mr. Clark, are we waiting for Mr. Bonovich, or can we start?
He just texted me. I think he's actually here, so he should be on his way up, and I will take a quick run out into the...
Okay. I apologize, everybody, for the delay. We'll be with you momentarily.
While we have a quick break, if anybody's interested in coming up for public comment, we have a sign-up sheet up here, and we'd appreciate everybody to write your name down.
Thank you.
For the record, Councilman Bonovich has entered the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to start our presentation off with the swearing in of Police Chief Starr, and we're going to begin by a prayer by Chaplain Casey. Will everyone please rise? Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Turn the microphone.
I don't need a microphone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As is often the case in working with the government, you hear many different testimonies. And tonight, I am just thrilled to be praying over my friend and his family. I look at this Bible, and there's so much in here that I can easily understand why this world does not want it in our schools. Even if only the book of Proverbs was in our schools, our children would be so much richer than they are today. It's amazing in my work at the corrections departments throughout the state that these books are more than appreciated, and sometimes they are held dear. In the book of Proverbs, written by the wisest man that God ever produced, and the richest man God ever produced, King Solomon, in verse 20, chapter 13, he says, "He who walks with the wise men will be wise, but the companions of fools will be destroyed." And in my walk, and in all of our walks, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen both the wise and the fools. With that being said, I take great comfort out of the truth of this book. As two of God's witnesses have told us, one day every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. However, in the meantime, we will be required by the God that has created us to fulfill our functions. Our new chief fills that mold perfectly. I see a wise man who has seen the destruction created by fools. He has seen and felt the pain of ignorance through other people's actions. He knows what it is to be disrespected. And I see a humble man. So Lord, I ask your blessing over this man tonight. I ask your blessing over this house, that everyone here, especially my friend and his family, would be blessed with your protection and your provision, your healing hand, and your honor, your wisdom would be placed upon them, that they would walk with integrity and faith. And I ask you, Lord, these things in the most precious name that I can utter. That's my Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. I'd also like to bring up Chaplain Wegner to say a few words. Is he here? Excuse me.
I wasn't ready for this, but I want to just congratulate the chief and the department. A great friend, an honor to work with Howell Police for many years. Looking forward to working together for many more years with the police department and the municipality. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have the council come up so we could... Everyone is standing, so please welcome our Police Honor Guard.
Praise and homes.
And it is my pleasure to announce Howell Township High School Rebel Yell will perform the national anthem. Thank you, Rebel Yell. Well done. Please be seated, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And on behalf of Chief Starro, I just have a few things to say. So today we come as a governing body and community to congratulate Chief John Starro in his new role as police chief of the Howell Police Department. I'm very confident I speak for the majority of this governing body when I say that John Starro is everything our police department needs at this time. Chief Starro has been serving our community for over 25 years, and he has done so with honor, respect, and commitment. The past few years have not been happy years for the Howell Police Department, and today is not a day to dwell on that, but a new beginning and looking at better days ahead. I want to thank our current acting township manager, Mr. Clark, for his thoughtfulness and fairness in the selection process. I know that was not an easy process. We had great candidates, and Caitlin, thank you for helping guide Joe. As a community, we are very lucky to have talented and very dedicated officers who also took part in the selection and process, and for that we thank you. I want to thank Acting Chief Mark Pilecki for stepping up and ensuring our community was safe during this difficult transition. We are confident that Chief Starro is the right choice, although at times he will have to make tough decisions, but his leadership will be fair, understanding, and honest. His education, training, experience, and equally important, his temperament is the right fit for this position of chief at this time. So Chief Starro, on behalf of the governing body and the residents of Howell Township, I'd like to congratulate you on your new position, your admirable career and commitment to our community, and the men and women of the Howell Police Department. So before I continue and I bring up the Honorable Susan Clark, I just want to read, for those of you who do not know Chief Starro's history, is the press release. I would like to read that and share that, so it is on the record and everybody here knows why he was chosen for the chief. So Chief Starro started his law enforcement career at Monmouth County Sheriff's Office in 1993. Excuse me, would you please come up, Chief? Sorry. I know he really didn't want to, but now you have to stand here with me. He joined the Howell Township Police Department in 1995 as an officer in the police department's patrol division, followed by becoming a field training officer and sergeant in 2003. Detective sergeant in 2005 and lieutenant in 2011, captain in 2015, and since 2000, Chief Storrow has served on both the Howell Township Police Department SWAT team and Monmouth County Emergency Response Team as an assistant team leader, tactical operator, and explosives breacher. In 2014, Chief Storrow trained for 3 months at the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia, one of the foremost law enforcement schools in the world. He had completed many professional certifications and trainings, including internal affairs policies, procedures through the New Jersey State Department of Criminal Justice, ICS I-700, and incident command systems through the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, hostage rescue tactics and combat skills at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Supervision and police management through United States Department of Justice, and missing children dynamics and response through the National Center for Exploited and Missing Children. He holds certifications as a Monmouth County firearms instructor and a patrol assault rifle instructor through the New Jersey State Department of Criminal Justice Police Training Commission. Chief Storrow has earned a Master's of Administrative Science from Fairleigh Dickinson University, as well as a bachelor's degree from Fairleigh Dickinson University and associate's degree from the College of Staten Island. Throughout his career, Chief Storrow has received numerous awards and commendations, including a New Jersey Assembly resolution for outstanding performance, awards for life-saving and honorable service, and a unit citation during his tenure in the Detective Bureau. So, did I leave anything out? I hope I did not leave anything out. So, with that said, this is a pretty terrific resume. I'm proud to have you here. I'm glad to be able to do this with you, with your family, with our PD, our residents, our professionals, our council. I'd like Chief's family to come up, and I'm going to invite the Honorable Susan Clark up here. Please stand up here, and we'll do pictures after the swearing in. It's all yours. You're all yours. I didn't really mean to say that. It's all you, Susan.
Good evening, everybody. It is my honor. It is my honor to be here, and I just want to acknowledge Chief Carter is here. It is just wonderful to see him here. And with that being said, I
John Storrow,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of
perform all the duties of
Chief of Howell Township Police
Of
Department
Howell Township Police Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
And I will support the Constitution
And I will support the Constitution
of the United
of the
States
United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey.
of the State of New Jersey.
And I will bear true faith
And I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in the Senate
and in the Senate
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. If anybody would like to take some photos while the judge is here and Chief's family is here, please feel free.
How about everybody? Okay. Come on. All right, congratulations. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Go ahead and shake your hand. Congratulations. Yeah, you ready? You're going to speak? Now that that's all out of the way, our Chief of Police, John Storrow.
So I just want to thank everybody for coming out. On my way over here today, I was talking to a good friend of mine I've known for a long time, and he said, if you're going to say a few words, try not to be too witty, too intellectual, or too charming. Just be yourself. So I said, thanks. No PBA cards for him. I just wanted to say thank you to a handful of people. I know the council and the staff has a lot of work to do tonight, so I will make this brief, relatively brief. First off, I want to say thank you to Chaplain Casey and Chaplain Wenger. They never really get the thanks that they deserve. They come out all hours of the night for no compensation. They respond to critical events, and the work that they do is really, it's really amazing. It helps the community like you guys really don't know. So I want to give a round of applause to Chaplain Casey and Chaplain Wenger. Another unsung hero is Joe Cantafa, who, listen, I'm going to thank you because you come out as well to all the different events that this town holds. You were just out on Saturday for the 9/11 Memorial that we held on Saturday here in town, and he always brings with him a cadre of angelic voices, and tonight there was at least a dozen. So you deserve thanks as well, and again, it goes without saying that we appreciate it, but I want to say it while I have this microphone that I appreciate you and all you do for the town. Thank you. The deputy mayor and council members for all their support through the years, not just recently. I'd like to thank the manager Clark for all his wisdom and all his guidance since I've been chief for the last 6 weeks. I really do appreciate it, as well as his sidekick Caitlin, I call her. She's been a great source of information and help. There are several people I'd like to thank personally. I see Chief Carter is here. It means a lot to me that he came out tonight. He hired me 26 and a half years ago. I came from the Sheriff's Department, like they had said. I was there for a couple of years. This November will be my 29th complete year. I'll be starting 30. But I want to say thank you to Chief Carter. I really appreciate you giving me a chance. And I never thought this day would come, but, but here I am, so thank you. I want to thank my family, my children, and especially my wife, who knows that after 28, 29 years of being in police work, it's a difficult thing to do. She's put up with the drama, the critical incidents, the SWAT team for 20 years, leaving at 3 in the morning, getting called in, and it's not, I can't imagine it's easy, not knowing if your spouse is going to come home at night, but at least that part of it's done. I retired from that about 3 years ago. Still going. I was on the downslope to retire until a little while ago. So now my course of action has changed, but I will do the best that I can do. I will be here a while. I want to make sure that things get fixed that need to be fixed. And once that is done and I feel that that's done satisfactorily, maybe I'll think about moving on at that point. I got a feeling I'm going to be here a little while. So thanks again. I appreciate the men and women in blue, all the support that they've given me through the years, and especially lately, within the last year and a half. I really needed it, and I got it. The support that I received was tremendous. And thank you guys and gals. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this concludes our ceremony. Again, thank you to all the dignitaries that have come out. Our PBA, of course, they're the best. Thank you guys for coming out and supporting this, and always supporting the council and our residents, Chief Starrow's family, our professionals, the council. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. We're going to resume our regular business, so feel free to go take pictures in the hall if you like, unless you want to stay. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for your patience. That was a beautiful ceremony. And I did eliminate our Pledge of Allegiance, so I asked everybody please rise and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. So we have a few proclamations. I'm going to ask Ms. Krista Riddle, Municipal Alliance Coordinator, and I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'll
You'll introduce this young man. Thank you. You can face the audience. So we have two proclamations that Krista is going to read into the record. One is for Overdose Awareness Day, and the other is Suicide Prevention Month. Go ahead, Krista.
Okay, so I have with me Alliance member Bob DeLeonard, and the reason we're doing Overdose Awareness Day tonight is because the August meeting was canceled, so it's a carryover from then. So I will let Bob do the honors.
Yeah, she's going to turn the mic on and going to move it down a little bit. Sorry, guys. Thank you.
Lights on.
If the light's on, it's on.
Lights on, is it on?
Yeah.
All right. It's a proclamation from the governing body of the Township of Howell. It's Overdose Awareness Day, which was August 31st, 2022. Whereas addiction, substance use disorder, is a disease, and the discrimination associated with addiction must be addressed so that no one feels shame or disgrace because of a drug overdose. And whereas prescription and illegal drug overdoses are now the #1 cause of accidental death in the nation, surpassing car accidents. And whereas a record number of fatal overdoses claimed 100,306 lives in the U.S. between April 2020 and April 2021. And whereas, according to the State of New Jersey Attorney General's Office, 996 suspected drug-related deaths occurred January 1st to April 30th, 2022. And whereas 62 fatal and non-fatal drug overdoses occurred in Howell Township in 2021, and whereas by acknowledging residents who have been affected by overdoses, we help the general public understand the effects on New Jersey communities, including Howell Township, and whereas most misused prescription drugs were obtained from family or friends via a home medicine cabinet, and whereas practitioners, persons of high risk, family members, and others can save lives by learning about the signs of an overdose and how to administer naloxone and then call 911, and whereas the Howell Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention and Mental Health Awareness remains committed to educating Howell Township community members should have got water across populations about substance abuse and overdose prevention, Project Medicine Drop, unwanted medications, disposal options, and substance abuse stigma reduction. And whereas, could you finish it?
Oh, sure. You need a drink?
Yeah.
Okay. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Whereas August 31st is recognized in communities around the world as a day to remember individuals who were lost to drug overdoses, to support their families and loved ones, and to reduce the stigma surrounding addiction and overdoses. Now, therefore, I, and it says Teresa Berger, Mayor of Township of Howell, which I'm reading it, she's not here, do hereby proclaim August 31st each year from now forward as Overdose Awareness Day in Howell Township, and urge all residents to learn about substance use disorders as a disease, to aid and support those who are affected by it, to encourage those with substance use disorders to seek assistance, to reduce stigma surrounding substance abuse and overdoses, and to participate in substance abuse prevention education efforts across all our community's populations. Should I do the second one then?
Bob, yeah, there's water behind you, sir.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Quickly, I will read, so September is Suicide Prevention Month, so we have a proclamation of the governing body of the Township of Howell recognizing September 2022 as Suicide Prevention Month. Whereas 45,979 Americans died by suicide and 1.2 million Americans attempted suicide in 2020, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's most recent statistics. And whereas suicide is the second leading cause of death for 20 to 34-year-olds and the third leading cause of death for 10 to 19-year-olds in the U.S. Whereas an average of 130 suicides occur per day in the U.S. Whereas in Howell Township, there were 4 suicide deaths and 83 suicide attempts threats in 2021. Whereas 90% of those who died by suicide had a diagnosable mental health condition at the time of death. Whereas completing community-offered mental health and suicide prevention trainings, such as the Howell Alliance hosted Mental Health First Aid and Question, Persuade, Refer, QPR, empowers people to save lives by recognizing the warning signs of suicide and mental health crises and properly offering immediate intervention and support resources. And whereas in July 2022, the 988 National Suicide, Mental Health, and Substance Use Crisis Hotline went live across our nation for 24/7 talk or text help in English and Spanish. And whereas the Howell Alliance remains committed to providing our community with education, public awareness, and programs supporting suicide prevention, substance use prevention, and mental well-being, as well as information on support resources and stigma reduction in these areas. Now, therefore, I, which would be the mayor, Teresa Berger of the Township of Howell, do hereby proclaim September 22nd as National Suicide Prevention Month. And I just wanted to say one of those trainings will be done virtually, hosted by the Howell Alliance on September 28th at 7 p.m. If you're interested, I have flyers. It's a QPR training for suicide prevention. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Thank you for all you do, Krista. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We do have 3 more proclamations, and I'm going to ask the clerk, Diane Festino, to please read them into the record.
Thank you. In continued support of the Howell Township Green Team, whereas the Howell Township Green Team was created to advise the governing body on ways to improve municipal operations with green initiatives which make practical, environmental, and financial sense. Whereas the Howell Township Council strives to save tax dollars, assure clean air, land, and water, improve the quality of life, and build a community that is sustainable economically, environmentally, and socially, a community which would thrive well into the future. Whereas a sustainable community seeks to optimize quality of life for its residents by ensuring that its environmental, economic, and social objectives are balanced and mutually supportive. Whereas the Howell Township Green Team has a continued support of the governing body to continue its mission to preserve and enhance Howell Township's environment for all citizens. Now, therefore, I, Teresa Berger, Mayor of the Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby proclaim our continued support of the Howell Township Green Team, September 13th, 2022. Also, a proclamation for Fire Prevention Week, October 9th through October 15th, 2022. Fire won't wait, plan your escape. Whereas the Township of Howell is committed to ensuring the safety and security of those living in and visiting our community. Whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. Whereas home fires killed more than 2,000 people and injured more than 11,000 people in the United States in 2019, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the U.S. responded to 400,000 home fires. Whereas smoke alarms sense smoke well before you can, alerting to danger in the event of fire, in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. Whereas working smoke and carbon monoxide alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires in half. Whereas Howell residents should be sure everyone in the home understands the sounds of these alarms and knows how to respond. Whereas Howell residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan with an outside meeting place are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. Whereas Howell residents will make sure their smoke and CO alarms meet the needs of all their family members, including those with sensory or physical disabilities. Whereas Howell's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. Whereas Howell residents who are responsive to public education measures are better able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. Whereas the 2022 Fire Prevention Week theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, effectively serves to remind us that it is imperative to learn the importance of having 2 ways out of every room, allowing you quickly to escape from a fire. Now therefore, I, Teresa Berger, Mayor of the Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby proclaim October 9th through October 15th, 2022 as Fire Prevention Week throughout the township, and urge all residents and visitors of Howell Township to practice the mantra of Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape for Fire Prevention Week 2022, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Howell Fire Bureau and all of Howell Township's emergency services. Also a resolution, Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, September 2022. Whereas September has been designated as National Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas Turn the Towns Teal is a campaign to create awareness of ovarian cancer and its symptoms, volunteers tie ribbons throughout town centers and hand out sympathy cards, whereas ovarian cancer is often referred to as a silent disease, and its symptoms are often vague and subtle. There is no early detection test for ovarian cancer, which means it is critical that women become aware of the known symptoms. Whereas 1 in 67 women will develop ovarian cancer in their lifetime, 2/3 of these diagnosed will die from the disease. Whereas if detected in the early stages, the survival rate for ovarian cancer is 90 to 95%. Whereas increased public awareness of this disease, its risk factors, and its subtle symptoms may save lives as women across New Jersey and their doctors learn to recognize the warning signs of ovarian cancer, which are often the only early indication of illness. And whereas more ovarian cancer research can help to develop reliable diagnostics, better therapies, and prevention strategies, thereby offering women in New Jersey the opportunity to win their battle for life against this most deadly of all gynecological cancers. Now therefore, I, Teresa Berger, Mayor of Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in Howell Township and support the Turn the Towns Teal awareness campaign. And that's it for it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to have the acceptance of minutes of previous meetings. May I have a motion for the acceptance of minutes of the meeting of June 14th, regular exec and public release?
I'll make the motion for the minutes of June 14th, 2022.
May I have a second?
Second?
Roll call, Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Abstain.
Thank you.
May I have a motion for the acceptance of minutes for the meeting of July 12th, regular and public? May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept July 12th minutes, regular and, public release.
May I have a second? Oh,
Yeah,
can I
you
step
would have
up?
to-
Oh, I'll make a second.
Thank you.
That's right, I forgot, okay.
Councilman Bonovich?
Abstain?
Thank you. Councilwoman Brennan?
I abstain.
Thank you. Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
And Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. May I have a motion for the acceptance of minutes of the meeting of August 25th, special executive and public release?
I'll make the motion for the minutes for August 25th, 2022.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Thank you. I'm going to start off with the reports of our township officials. Lou, do you have anything for?
I have nothing for the governing body this evening.
Thank you. Caitlin?
No.
Nothing. Matt?
I have a few items.
Okay, please.
A couple weeks ago, the governor of New Jersey extended the outdoor dining and the extension of premises for the ABC licenses back from the COVID flexibilities that were given. So governing body acted several times on some resolutions, giving myself as the land use director and officer some flexibility in issuing permits for outdoor dining. I wanted to take a poll and question if we wanted to extend. It would be 2 years till November 2024 to match the state guidelines.
What do you think, council?
I would entertain to mirror the state.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree.
So yes.
So I'll prepare a resolution for the next meeting that we can vote on. We also did one that extended entertainment. I'll include that as well. That was for outdoor entertainment. We did that most recently this year, and no complaints, no issues throughout town. Know a few businesses that have been utilizing it, so kind of goes hand in hand with outdoor dining at times.
Great, thank you.
And if I can just ask, just for clarification, there's no gap if we wait until the
No,
next?
we had it run till the end of October, so this will, we'll be able to get it in.
Very good, thank you.
Great, thank you.
There was another resolution that we did, which was for temporary signage. Back at the time, especially at the beginning of COVID, we wanted people to be able to advertise that they're open, whether it was wind flags or temporary banners, you know, what the restrictions were, and kind of maybe give some more information. That is also expiring this October. Just in my travels, you know, our ordinance is pretty strict on that type of signage. The number of wind flags is limited, number of banners and how long they can be up is limited. Definitely Route 9's kind of taken a turn to having a lot more of that than we're used to. I would recommend maybe thinking about going back to our regular ordinance enforcement of temporary signage, but ultimately that would be up to the governing body if they want to let that resolution expire.
So before we decide on a straw poll on that, how will we notify the businesses on Route 9 that it's over and not risking a fine or
Sure,
violation?
I would want to do it as fair as possible, so we would personally, code enforcement would go in, talk to the managers. We would give them, you know, a 3-month heads up, pretty much end of the year, and then even then, we'll still give that warning letter. We're not going to look to fine unless somebody's really being difficult, but we'd give them plenty of opportunity to comply.
Yeah.
And maybe beginning of the year would be the best time. Most of those signs are down in the winter anyway.
Great. We agree that we should,
3 months grace time.
3 months grace time is fine, yes.
Perfect. I went around with the construction official a little bit last week, driving around town. We've identified 3 new properties for our demolition program. They're properties that are deemed unsafe through our ordinance based on criteria that are in our ordinance. I'm not going to go into specifics as to which ones because we haven't notified anyone, but in the near future, we're going to send notices out, do a public hearing, which is usually during the day, where we recite facts, we hear from the owners, and then if after that hearing, if we still feel that the building is unsafe and the owners don't want to rectify it, we'll begin the process to do the demolition ourselves. We have budget line items for this, so the anticipation is we'll stay within budget, and then liens will be placed to recoup the costs anyway. So more information on that in the future.
Great.
Also,
You feel that 40 grand in the budget was sufficient then?
you had given us an extra 10, I believe.
So that was sufficient?
So 3 properties, it's going to be right around there. We're going to see if we get some cooperation from the owners to lower costs, but yes.
Okay.
Also, while we're driving around, we notice there's a lot of vacant, abandoned properties and structures. These are ones that clearly nobody's been in for a while, but they're not falling down. They're not unsafe. They're structurally sound. The demolition, you know, we don't want to take down a house or a structure that's just abandoned. The state did beef up their laws a few months ago, allowing us to do a registry, allowing us to take an inventory of those properties, assess a fee for the registration, and enforce stricter property maintenance. We can also get first responders in to take a look at the structure and see if there's any hazards in case there's ever a fire. The Fire Bureau would be able to come in and take a look and put some placards up, letting first responders know that there's stairs missing, you know, floorboards missing, things like that, so we can add a layer of safety to the first responders and to the fire departments. So I'm also going to come with an ordinance for introduction on that matter next meeting. I estimate we'll have 50 to 100 properties that could go on that registry within 3 months as code enforcement inventories them.
So when we collect the fines, is that, I mean, where does that money, where would that money go? To what pool?
20% is supposed to be allocated to code enforcement, so we could use that for our fleet, we could use that for equipment, for training. The rest would go into our general fund.
General fund? Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Also, next meeting, we're going to unfortunately have to raise our fees for rental inspections. The state passed another law that we're going to have to follow. It's for lead-based paint inspections. Any structure that was built prior to 1978 and is going to be used as a rental property has to have a lead-based paint inspection. Code enforcement's already trained on how to do those inspections. We have to update forms, we have to take an inventory of how many structures, where it looks like it's about 500, and then we have to either schedule an inspection within a couple years, or upon change of tenancy, flag that property and do that inspection. So to cover our administrative costs, inspection costs, we're going to be upping rental certification fees. So we'll have a fee ordinance for that next meeting as well.
Okay.
Finally, some good news, we did close on the Wainwright property, which is a 6-acre piece on Lakewood Allenwood Road. Justin Yost was an enormous help throughout that process, working with Monmouth Conservation Fund. So that's 6 acres of open space on Lakewood Allenwood Road.
Well done. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Clark.
So I will start with DPW. The old fuel island at the DPW yard, the underground storage tanks are getting ready to be removed, and this will fully complete the fuel island project. We have a community volunteer cleanup day for October 22nd, 2022. A flyer that's ready to be published online, so we'll have more information on that shortly. The LED signs at Town Hall and Soldier Memorial are on order, and we are working with the contractors, so we're looking probably early November to have them installed and up and running. The bus stops have been a bit of an issue, so we are taking a proactive approach, and we will work with NJ Transit on the back end of this. We're going to have some trash cans and recycling bins at the bus stops. And we'll probably be policing them a little bit more because we're not getting that kind of cooperation out of NJ Transit. So I wish Barbara Dixell was here, because this is one that she's sort of been championing for a while. We are issuing a contract probably within the next couple of days, and we are having the railing installed at the Senior Citizen Center, so we'll enhance safety for the seniors as they come and go. The emergency generator and automatic transfer switch needed some repairs done. We are getting ready to order the bottle filling stations. That should be done very shortly, and that's under one of our grants. So for Howell Day this year, we typically borrow a stage from other towns. This year, we had one, and then I think that the town that was going to loan it to us needed it for their own use. So Paul Novello from DPW was keeping an eye online for us. He found a stage on municipal bid. He put in a bid, so we now have our own stage. It'll take a little bit of repair, but it's far, far cheaper than going out and buying a new one. So that was a really good catch by him and a really good result. DPW filled 423 potholes. 8 were generated from complaints, so keep phoning them in, keep letting us know, we'll keep filling them. The hazardous tree survey, DPW's removed 18 more of the trees that were on the survey, so they're plugging away at that. Bulk collection is still underway. There's been a total of 5,050 stops since the start of the program. And then just some general calendar items. September 24th is, of course, Howell Day. It's 3 to 8 p.m. Fireworks to follow. It's at Soldier Memorial. October 1, Baxter's Fishing Derby. This is a free event, 9 to 11 at Echo Lake for kids age 14 and under. That same day is the fall seedling giveaway at the DPW garage from 7 to 12. Get there early. They tend to go pretty quick. October 19th, Halloween in the park at Oak Glen Park. That's 5:30 to 8. There's no cost for it, but they do ask for a donation of pet food, can of food, something of the sort. October 25th through 30th, we're trying something new this year. We have our Halloween decorating contest. The registration forms are going to be available online starting tomorrow. You can fill them out through October 18th. It'll have an explanation of, what the sort of the drill is with it, but our fearless committee will be looking at it, and there'll be prizes awarded in different categories. The winners will be announced on November 1st. And again, that's from October 25th through the 30th. And also during that week, in kind of keeping with the cheesy Halloween theme and our utilization of Howell TV and our YouTube channel and all that, there are a lot of those horrendous 1950s horror movies that are in the public domain now and that can be broadcast for free. So we have assembled a list of the worst of the worst. I'm going to be distributing it to you guys tomorrow. You'll be making your selections, and we will be hosting movies all that week as well, with the marathon probably on Saturday. October 27th will be New Jersey Natural Gas Energy Assistance Day here at Town Hall. It's from 10 to 5. We have information on it, and we will be posting that, but basically, New Jersey Natural Gas is going to connect people from the community with energy assistance and energy efficiency programs to help them manage their energy bills. So that's coming up. A couple other things very quickly. We recently received our first opioid settlement payment, so that has gone into that particular fund set up for it. The solar energy study that we've discussed about, there was, the study was authorized, I think, back in May. We met with them today. That is underway. They are looking at several sites throughout town, primarily for the installation of solar collection in one of our fields, potentially the roof of this building. We're also having them look at the installation of canopies at the park and ride, canopy here, some of the solar charging stations. So it's kind of a overarching study of what we can do here. So I'm hoping for that to be done very soon. If not, we're going to have them in October to kind of give us all a little bit of an update as to where everything stands with that. We've discussed it before. We have a liquor license that we can issue, so we're going to put an ordinance on in October to make that happen. So watch for that. Our food truck ordinance, we don't really have one, so we are going to work on creating one for introduction in October. There was always some tension in terms of where the proper placement for them will be. So we are looking to start putting them in our public parks and working with the sports leagues and that. So the ones that have concessions and sell concessions, we're not interfering with that ability, and we'll try and, make it as sort of seamless as possible and work together with food truck vendors and with the leagues, and hopefully, we've got an emphasis this upcoming year on our parks and improving them in general, so this will be part of it. Having spoken to Councilwoman Brennan, who was our erstwhile public defender, there are issues here and there with our snow ordinances and moving cars off the streets, and sort of the fact that for a first offense or a 10th offense, the fine is the same. And in the interest of generating compliance rather than fines, we're going to look at creating tiers. So for a first offense, the fine might be a little lower than the second and thereafter. So I think that's a good idea, and it will save people money while also getting the point across that when we have a snow emergency, you got to move your car. We have some capital ordinances being introduced tonight. Mr. Palazzo and I are working on some of the other ones. We have vehicle acquisition and leasing that we're still working with some leasing companies on. Said to you guys, we're trying to flatten out the peaks and valleys in our car payments as much as possible, and exploring the possibility of leasing with an option to buy at the end or turn back over to them is certainly one of the things that we're doing. So right now we have, again, for our parks and open space, we have some money set aside for, and it's described in there, like kayak launches and other things like that. Our sewer improvements, we're working on replacing some of our metering. They need new trucks. And so that's part of our capital that's coming on tonight. We're working on revising our no smoking ordinance for throughout town. It's turned out to be a lot more of a project than I had originally anticipated, but it's coming along, and I would expect to have that on for introduction in October as well. It's also one that, you know, it's been sort of vetted throughout the county, and I think a lot of other towns are waiting for us to introduce it so they can adopt it as a model, both at the county level and at municipal level, so that's great. Paul Novello from DPW is ordering some trail cams for us, and this goes hand in hand with our open space acquisitions. We're putting signage up at a lot of our most recent ones so the public can see that, you know, contrary to some belief, we try and do a lot of good too. So we have thousands of acres that we've preserved over the years, and we thought putting trail cams up on them and letting people see what kind of wildlife we have here in Howell might be a fun idea. We've recently had a couple of bear sightings, so be careful out there. We've spoken with Lisa Dowd of the Shade Tree Commission. We're looking, because of the cost of gas and the amount of time it takes to mow some of our smaller parcels, we're looking at restoring them to meadow or pollinator gardens, so that'll keep us from having to mow them. It'll save us gas and manpower. And then finally, we are working with Twin Pond Farms. They were originally farming a parcel of land that was owned by Toll Brothers. That was ceded over to us recently. There is some state law that allows the farmer to continue farming in a situation like that, so we are working with them to allow them to continue farming. It's approximately a 10-acre parcel. What's it? Oh, and finally,
You said that already.
This is the final. After years of effort with one of our more recalcitrant developers, we forced the issue. We've called in the bonds, and we have finally taken it upon ourselves to pave Hummingbird Court. So I think the residents there are happy with that, and we will be going after the developer and the bond to recover all of that money.
I want to give Justin Yost some credit on that. We got him involved at the 11th hour and said, all right, it's time to pull the trigger. I think it was less than 40 days that he went, did the work that needed to be done, and got it paved. It's paved as of today, so it's just a big accomplishment.
It's an amazing job. He did really well.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen over there. It seems like you guys have been busy. Thank you for all you guys do. We were going to keep our council comments to a very small minimum since we have a lot of business to get, but I'd be remiss if I wasn't keeping up with the police theme. So tomorrow is Feast with Howell's Finest. Our PBA will be at Texas Roadhouse tomorrow from 4 to 9 serving meals. So if you guys can stop down and give them somebody to serve in another aspect. Also mentioning Lisa Dowd, I spoke with her on Friday. They have a lot of big projects coming up, and I know a lot of students are always looking for volunteer service, volunteer time. If anybody knows, Lisa has an email dedicated just to that. You can find it on the website. If you know anybody who's interested in helping with whatever project she's got coming up, that would be great. I think that is all I have. If we'll start over here. Councilwoman O'Donnell, do you have anything to add?
I know you requested to be brief, but I have to say that the last couple of years, I will admit that I've really been a pain to administration on several topics that Mr. Clark had addressed, and I can't thank you enough for these projects to be up and moving forward. These are all things that are truly a blessing to Howell when they'll be finished. Solars, the trees, these have been things that, as you know, I've been sometimes quite unhappy, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart with that. Also, the 9/11 memorial that we had on Saturday was well attended. Ramtown Fire Company and Mr. Kelly spoke with great compassion. They, of course, rang the bell. Our PD, our schools, residents, once again, everybody comes together. with the best of all intentions, and let's hope that that feeling of commitment and love for our country continues. I wanted to add a resolution to the agenda tonight. Would you like that spoken about now or at that time?
I think we can wait when we, Caitlin?
Wait until we
It's time.
address the resolutions to be voted on separately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Senior Center is very happy to get that railing. As we all know, safety is a huge issue with every community, but as well as seniors. And that sidewalk does get slick no matter how much chemical. DPW is very careful to take excellent care of the Senior Center. But thank you very much. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. But again, 9/11 was put together. Mr. Clark, you and Stephen Fetcher did an excellent job. It was, as usual, somber, but an excellent memorial, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Brennan?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to our entire team, headed by Mr. Clark, of course, because just listening to that robust report of so many wonderful things that are going on right now is just, to me, very impressive. So thank you to you, Mr. Howard, to everybody for all of the work that everyone's doing. I know that historically everyone's always done a lot of work, but just hearing what a robust report, and just truly impressive. So thank you for all that you do. I also just want to reiterate what Ms. Riddle said regarding Suicide Awareness Month. And in all the different hats with all the different hats that I wear, I have spoken to different people who do suffer and who do struggle. And recently I actually worked with a client who struggled with some mental health issues, and I had reached out, and I was very thankful that I had actually participated in the mental health training that Ms. Riddle had recommended. It was one of the trainings that she had said, I know that there's one that's coming up, it's not the same, but these trainings are more than just words, because when you take these trainings, and I would implore everyone to do this, when you take these trainings, they sink in at a level that you don't even realize, and how important it could be, because you don't know who might be struggling and who might you come across. It might be a coworker, a neighbor, a friend, a family member, who all of a sudden you have in your life and they're struggling with something. And that training will kick in. And then Ms. Riddle is always a tremendous resource, because when I had those issues with this one particular person, I reached out and she was able to help me and coach me and get other resources for me to work with this individual. So you never know. Take a couple of hours, take that training, be mindful, and the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month is more than just words. It's really something you could do and take action with, because it's a real issue, and a couple of hours that you spend might actually have a tremendous impact on somebody else's life. So whenever those opportunities arise and Ms. Riddle takes the time to organize through the Municipal Alliance, please consider taking advantage, sharing those opportunities with your family, friends, and neighbors. It's really important that we all do so. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich.
When you last, there's not much. Mr. Clark, you did a great job. Council, you did a great job. You covered everything. As far as the local heroes event at the Texas Roadhouse, if the chief was here, I was going to ask him if he's going to trade in his uniform for an apron.
He should have.
He's not here. I guess since the only thing I could add is the applications for the Monmouth County property tax rebates are being mailed out September 23rd. Good job. It's $1,500 for homeowners and $450 for renters. I looked online at the Treasury. It's pretty simple. When you get the mailer, it's pretty much your address and your PIN. So look out for that. With the inflation, everything that's going on, I'm sure everyone can use that $1,500 or that $450.
Sure. Good catch, Councilman. Thank you. And just to touch upon what everybody said, I concur. We've all done an amazing job. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Council. When we do announce certain things, like Councilman said, I know I see some things on the Township Facebook page, and that's the official Township page for Howell. Is everything on there, and do we have a system as to make sure when we do have these announcements, and I don't know if that would come from the clerk's office or not, but sometimes I feel like we miss some things, and I don't know the rhyme or reason as to what gets posted on the Township web Facebook page. So I don't know who can answer that.
Clerk's office is working to add more items onto the Township calendar.
Yes, the township calendar, but I'm saying the Facebook page that we, I saw the feast with the finest, I saw that, but then some things I kind of feel like I miss sometimes, and I make a point of going on the site, so how do we make sure we're exactly what Councilman Bonovich, added at the end there?
Right, and that's actually an excellent catch. So anything like that, email to me, because I'll make sure that we get it on there. And we're always working to improve. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll make sure that there's a lot more posting and a lot more information being shared.
Yeah, I think sometimes we don't think that, they have it, right? And then a councilman sees something, I think we have to make a better conscious effort to just send that quick email, even if you already have it, just to double check each other. I
Yeah,
think.
that's exactly right. I mean, we get a lot of, we get a lot of emails.
We get a
but
lot of
if there's
information, a
something-
lot of events that we sometimes get
particular-
overlooked, and I don't want anyone to feel we're sliding someone with an event
No,
or something.
flag it, send it in.
Okay.
We'll make sure that, we can get as much as we can on our sort of community pages,
Yeah.
our calendar, our Facebook page.
Great, and I know the clerk is working on a calendar, community calendar, making sure all the events get put on the website's calendar, so thank you for that. You're welcome.
Finally.
Finally.
I just
Okay.
thought of one more thing.
Oh, no.
So as part of
I
our
close this part of the, no.
As part of our website refresh, we asked for the submission of photos, so we went through some of them, and with council's help in that, we picked out some. We'll be putting them on Facebook tomorrow. We got some really great submissions, and so they were sent to Civic Plus, who's responsible for doing the refresh, and we will be working with them to get it up and running soon. And that really is the final thing I'm saying.
Is that your final answer? Thank you. Okay. So we're going to move on to open the floor for the hearing of citizens and public comments. Please remember that each person has 5 minutes to speak, so has anybody signed up to speak?
Yes, we have 3 residents from Merrick Road, so why don't we start with Ed McNamee? If all 3 of you want to come up,
If you
you
all,
can.
yeah, and you can
as
just
well.
please state your name and your address, please, for the record? Thank you. If you just swing the microphone, make sure it's on. No, you can swing, no, face us, you're going to address the council, thank you. Yeah, perfect, thank you very much.
My name is Susan Keemer, and I live on Merrick Road at the Merrick Farm. And I'm going to give the time that I'm allowed to Ed McNamee to speak.
Thank you.
Hi, Juan George, I live also in Merrick Farm also. I'm going to give my 5 minutes to Mr. McNamee also. United.
Excuse me, before we continue, I just want to check with our township attorney that they're going to yield their time to, is that allowed? I'm not sure that that's how that works, but
I can tell you under our meeting protocol, we don't allow for the ceding of time to aggregate it into one person. Every person gets 5 minutes.
okay.
So.
And just to be fair, if you would like to request more time at the 5-minute mark, you can address the council, and
Right,
we could issue you more time. Is that fair, Mr. Clark?
We allow 2 3-minute
Okay.
extensions.
Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Continue, carry on, please. Thank you.
I'm also a partner that I've joined them back in 2020, so therefore I'm also a partner on the Merrick Farm. We're coming to request, we've been here last year, we've sent a whole group of presentations of reasons why we would like to talk about the opportunity to grow cannabis on the farm and to manufacture on the farm. Not to sell it in any way. If you grow cannabis, you're not allowed to sell. You can only go ahead to the public. All right, so we're requesting the opportunity to be able to bring that and help the farm to survive and prosper, because we've been struggling as a farm. Just to let you know is that right now, if you do have and you do grow cannabis, you have to grow it inside, enclosed, you have to have cameras, access to give to the police, etc. The state requires you to label it. It requires you to go ahead and tag it and keep it reported there, because they get a 7% tax on everything here. If you allow us to grow, the township will get a 2% tax on all sale. You'll also be able to increase the taxes on any of the property that we're growing cannabis. So instead of being farm assessed, we'll be able to get a higher revenue, you get fees, and you get the registrations for it as well. Right now, there are 7 public large companies that are national, that are now the ones that have all the medical. They were here always with medical, and now they're the ones who opened up back in April to sell the recreational one. They have done about $80 million worth of sales since April to the beginning of August. There is estimated there'll be $675 million to $775 million in 2022 of sales of cannabis, and there's projections that there'll be $2 billion between 2025 and 2026. This is not just a local issue, this is national. These 7 national companies, they do anywhere from $100 million, many hundreds of millions of dollars of sales, and 2 of them are projected to do $1 billion each next year doing it. So this is a big thing for them. They're here, they're going to stay, they've constantly been investing. At the moment, I don't know of any small grower out there. It's all been the big ones. We're asking to be a small business. Right now, they're not, none of them headquarters in the state of New Jersey, and they're just going to grow in all over nationally and get people better. Globally, they've gone from about $20 billion worth of sales globally, and they estimate it'll be over $100 billion worth of sales by 2025. In the United States, there are 37 states that are either medical or adult recreation right now selling it, allowed to do it, and there are 4 territories in the United States. There are Arkansas, Maryland, North Dakota, Missouri, and Oklahoma are 5 states on the board on the ballots in November asking for medical, and 1 state, which is Nebraska, is asking for, they're asking for recreation, 1 state's asking for medical. In New Jersey, I've given you the facts there, and the sales, I think, are just going to continue to get, because this is a business. I think you have to be 21 years old to buy it, just like cigarettes and alcohol. They're heavily regulated. The stores, which we're not asking for, that said, a lot of them, if you look at them online where they are nationally, they're like $1 million that they put into these things here. So there's no way that they're going to go ahead and sell to anybody young. They say it's more restricted there than selling alcohol to anybody young. So it's very, very hard for somebody young to go out and do it. I've given presentations beforehand to the board, mailed packages to it, left packages for the presentation, and that has simply said that cannabis is less addictive than alcohol.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And alcohol is less addictive, thank you, and less addictive than to cigarettes. So I'm asking for something that is here, is going to happen. We cannot prevent it from happening. It is here now. The discussion should be, do you want to get any revenue from this or not get any revenue from this? Right now there is, can we get the 3-minute extension? Is that possible?
30 seconds.
Yeah, okay, so council, can we vote on giving next 3-minute extension? Mr. Clark, is that okay if we do it that way?
Yeah, you can just do a quick voice vote.
Yeah,
All
can
in
we,
favor?
all in favor?
I'm in favor.
Aye. Yeah? Aye. Yeah, continue, sir. That's okay, you have your 3 minutes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, on July 28th, the Cannabis Regulatory Commission awarded 308 conditional business licenses to prospective businesses. It's growing. And also, the CRC issued 140 conditional weed dispensary licenses. And they haven't opened yet. So there were only 12 open initially when this started by all the public companies. Now there are about 18, the last read, and there are going to be more coming. So whether your town is going to allow it or not, it's going to be around you. It's in Eatontown, as you all know. It is also in Neptune, as you know. So therefore, the laws have passed. The question is it possible you can allow us to help generate some revenue? And if we're going to worry about something, we should worry about copycat, illegal. Because on the illegal marijuana, it contains psychotropic elements like THC that are untested, they're unregulated, the consumers are buying things that they don't know what they're ingesting, inhaling, mold, bacteria, unsafe pesticides, heavy metals, and other dangerous additives. And there's no regulation, there's no scrutiny, this can sell to anybody, no limits, et cetera, nothing labeled. Everything must be tested that is legal. And it's here now. Rob Boya said it, I think, best. He's the Attorney General for the state of California since 2021. He said, illegal growers harms the environment, threatens public safety, exploits labor, and as the cannabis industry moves into legal marketplaces, we are working with our partners to shut down the illegals. The old cannabis is not, in my opinion, what the new cannabis is. It's a whole different cannabis there. It is much safer because it tested, they're regulating things. And right now, it costs anywhere up to about $70 an ounce, they say, to buy the legal one. Well, it's $40 to $50 an ounce to buy the illegal one, so it's a 30–40% discount. The illegal one has been here. I've been in New Jersey since 1968. I know there's been pot available since 1968 that I've been here, so it's not that this is new. It's here, so you've got it here. Why not get it here, get the prices, which is a lot of them doing, get it regulated, get as many distributions as possible, which will cause the price to go down, which has happened in other states. Prices come down, and therefore you can maybe get rid of the illegal, because people will realize how good the stuff is in relation to the bad stuff, how safer it is than the others. And the Cato Institute, and that's August 29th, and this will be, I'll finish, is the reason for the most recent increase in opioid overdose. Now, I heard you all speak and did not know you were going to say what you said. Fatalities is thought to be due to the fact that people are mixing cocktail, extremely dangerous and potent opioids like fentanyl, which is 100 times
Your 3 minutes
stronger.
has ended.
Excuse me?
3 minutes has ended.
Oh.
Are you, excuse me, all right,
Two paragraphs.
okay, finish up, sir, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
Which is fentanyl, which is 100 times stronger than morphine. Morphine, obviously, is so much stronger than cannabis. And carfentanil, which I never heard of, which is 100 times stronger than fentanyl. In addition, users are beginning to add stimulants like cocaine and
Yeah, that word.
Thank you, to the mix. And the latest CRD estimates show there were 107,600 overdose deaths in 2021. This is all of the year here, with 66% of them coming from deaths from synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Drug poisoning is the leading killer of Americans between 18 and 20 and 18 and 45. Thought is that the money you could generate could maybe used to educate the parents and the kids about this if you didn't have any other use for the money. Thank you for allowing me. I'd like to get a proposal, however, to see if we could have the opportunity, I don't know how to do this, to be allowed to grow.
So, Mr. Clark or Caitlin, I'm not sure if either one of you would like to address.
From my understanding, that the township's already passed an ordinance which prohibits the growth and sale of cannabis in the township right now.
They did that initially before the end date, but they were allowed to anytime open it up again and redo it.
So you are requesting that the township revisit this ordinance and allow for the production of cannabis?
Caitlin, yes.
Okay. So that will have to be an internal township discussion, but we hear you and hear your request.
Thank you. Thank you, board.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the list?
We only had 3, unless somebody else, come on up.
Tina Smilek, 33 Charles Street. Just to add to your events, October 1st is the PBA Oktoberfest.
Oh, yes.
Also, on September 24th, with our awareness, it's the tribute, Rock the Farm tribute.
Oh, in Seaside. Isn't
Yes.
It's in Seaside, right?
Yes, it's from the CFC.
CFC, yep, recovery.
So that's on
Thank
September
you.
24th, another good.
For recovery.
The other thing you just might want to recognize is that the schools received $2.2 million for preschool, which was great for some people, residents that may need it. And the applications are only out until this Thursday. So I don't know if you want to share that on your website to allow.
Excuse me, I think that they did, and I know Mr. Howard was there today, but yeah, I think he did. Yeah, thank you.
The website before the Facebook page. So that's that. One request, the last meeting, the special meeting, I know you went through sunshine laws, and I know you did everything. I'm just requesting that in the future, when you have a special meeting, can you put it on the front page of the website? If it's possible. Because I didn't even know about it.
Wait, what do you mean to put it on the front page of a, what?
Like you have your
Oh, the notifications, I got you, okay. And I understand.
When you do a notification,
Yeah,
it's just a
didn't we
post.
put that on notification, Diane? I thought it came through a notification.
I don't think so. It was in the newspaper as well.
Okay, thank you.
I know it was advertised, or it said advertised and posted here. I followed the correct laws. It's just, on top of
An
that, if we
extra.
could just,
All right, we'll do next time, thank you.
Thank you.
so, the special fire election, what is that about? Anybody know that?
Kayla?
Yeah, I can comment on this. Next meeting is probably the meatier discussion for this, but what's essentially is happening is that the township and the various fire districts are trying to go into a joint shared service agreement to purchase and construct in one area a new radio system. So it's all a safety issue. Currently, the radios for our first responders, they're not reaching all areas of the township. So the fire districts are part of this deal, and it's going to be, they needed to go out for special elections to allow to borrow this much money. And the township's going to be sharing a portion, and each individual fire district is going to be sharing a portion. We
Okay,
can
do
get
you know
into-
how much it is?
Overall, the figures are looking around $5 million total for the project. That can change. We don't have the final numbers yet. We've been working with Motorola, but nothing's finalized yet, but that's the goal right now is what's going on.
And is this going to run like a fire election where the voting is only at the firehouses?
Correct. So all of the individual districts, you'll have to go to the firehouses to vote for them.
Okay.
You can only vote in your own district. And if they fail, it's going to have to be a restructure of the deal.
Okay, no problem. I just haven't heard anything on it. So, believe it or not, you'll be happy I don't have much. R22-265, the Sustainable New Jersey Land Use Pledge Committing. Is that, I mean, I read it, sounds good, it looks good.
Isn't that a yearly, Mr. Clark?
It's a yearly thing. Lisa Dowd asked us to do it, so it's part of our Sustainable Jersey.
It's the first time I read it, so I really like what's in it, as far as it says, you know, we're going to be nice to our neighbors, our communities next to us, and this and that. The problem is reading it is nice, but is this just lip smack? I mean, what can we do? Can this issue anybody anything to say, hey, at a planning board meeting, this application, we have a sustainable land use pledge that we're going to talk to our neighbors. Have you talked to our neighbors, neighboring towns? Have you?
1 minute remaining.
Well, we don't involve the neighboring towns in our planning because we have our own independent planning board and the MLUL and that. So it's not an independent source of law. It's mostly an aspirational, we'll all cooperate together kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to the extent, as you know from Freehold, if we're required to get notice to other towns for applications within our borders, those towns get them, so they have an opportunity to voice whatever they say. So, yeah, and that's language that is in there, and it was in the last one we did, and so it's just something that we continue.
We can work on a request if we have a specific, there's no.
It doesn't stop development.
Okay. So it's just nice to read. Okay. Capital budget, when was that approved?
So normally, by de facto, when you adopt the municipal budget, the capital budget that is in the municipal budget is a capital spending plan. It's a fluid document, and what is put on the capital budget is the items at that time. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we're going to go out to do a bond ordinance or a capital ordinance with. So what the amending the capital budget resolution is for is to amend that spending plan in conformance to the ordinances that are slated to be introduced this evening.
I just don't remember a meeting discussing capital ordinances and what was requested and what was approved.
So, right, so as far as the budget document, that, because I'm required by state law, like, I can't leave that incomplete, so I put something in there to, and as you said, we have the resolution that can allow us to amend that, and that, so then it is incumbent on administration, myself, and the governing body to work together to have a public discussion. Here's what we're thinking about, or if it's a discussion between, all of us, so we know that what we are putting forth. At the end of the day, the capital ordinances, if you support it, don't support it, that's really the end of the road with it, so to speak. If it's supported by the governing body, not supported, same thing with the public, so
I
it's
just haven't heard anything, so I don't know if you guys have heard anything, you know what, or is it just a work in progress?
We have, and your 5 minutes is up, Ms. Smilik?
Okay, can I say one more thing? It's a really nice thing.
Governing body, go ahead. Yes, 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 go ahead.
So, I see you're appointing Taylor August. Does that mean we're not using the canning firm anymore?
We still have them on. It means that their role is diminishing, so the amount that they're paid is not that much on a yearly basis. Though he has expertise, and while Taylor is still learning, he's there as an advisor, but certainly I would anticipate next year to have him curtailed almost completely.
Okay, I really enjoy seeing the promotion of somebody.
Inside, yes.
Thank you.
Agreed.
So, thank you all.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Is there anyone else who'd like to come up and speak? Ms. Riddle, please come on up.
I didn't sign.
That's okay. Neither did Ms. Smilik. It happens. It's okay.
So I just want to address the council. I had come in November to talk about cannabis and the licensing in Howell, and I had requested a cost-benefit analysis before moving forward, like a detailed fact-based. Again, the concerns remain. Lowered risk perception with legalization comes an increase in youth use. We are seeing skyrocketing cases of youth with psychoses and mental health issues related to high-potency marijuana products. It is not something to be taken lightly. I hope the decision won't be. And a cost-benefit analysis is going to show exactly how much we'd bring in versus how much it would cost to enforce our regulations. And then also, black markets follow. So with the fentanyl and all of that, concern being laced, the black market doesn't go away because we allow licensing in our town. So short of a valued cost-benefit analysis, I would hope a decision wouldn't be made. Just wanted to follow up on that.
Thank you for the follow-up. Is there anyone else who would like to come up and speak? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close public comment.
Motion to close public.
May I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
So with that said, Caitlin, I just want to make sure we do this the right way. I know Councilwoman O'Donnell had an addition. We did discuss it earlier regarding...
We're going to have an addition to our agenda. It was something that only popped up today. We're going to address it when we talk about resolutions to be voted on separately. So we're going to get through the consent resolutions first, and then I believe Councilwoman O'Donnell will introduce a new resolution to be voted on today. I would recommend reopening public comment specifically for this this resolution.
Absolutely. Okay. In the meantime, we have to vote on everything all together. We don't need to pull anything out, correct?
No, I do have one question.
Go ahead, Councilman.
287, Matt, you brought that up the other day. Resolution 287.
Christmas tree farm?
Yes, the Christmas tree. Do we have to add some lots to that? Are we fine with that?
It's been added on the resolution, but not on the agenda, so I apologize.
So those lots are there?
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so...
Good. So we're clarifying that. Thank you, Councilman Bonovich. So may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of resolutions 22-255 through 22-297?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
A second.
Diane?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell? Yes. Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So these resolutions are to be voted on separately. Please read the title of the resolution into the record.
Resolution 22-298, appointing Taylor August as qualified purchasing agent effective September 13th, 2022.
May I have a motion to adopt resolution R22-298?
I'll make the motion to adopt 22-297.
I'll second.
Is it 297?
What did I say?
298.
298.
298. I'm on Monday's agenda. You added
Councilman
one.
Bonovich.
Yeah, you added one. I saw it as 298, 297, 298, and 299 now. I got it. All right, so 298.
Okay, roll call, Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Will you please read into the record, Diane, the title of Resolution R-22-299?
Providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2022 budget of the Township of Howell pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-87, Chapter 159, Public Law 1948.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution R-22-299?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Donnell.
If I may, at this time, I'd like to give to the council what I consider a 301A, and that would be the acceptance of the resignation of Wendell Nansen, zoning board chair, who has been quite ill. And in that motion, I would like to include moving William Stanton to alternate 1 with the expiration date of 2024. And secondly,
Excuse me, that's,
From alternate one.
Caitlin, you have the
Yeah,
information?
let me-
Would you like-
yeah,
Yeah,
can
clear
I
it up, because
clarify?
it did get a little confusing and.
I'm going to clarify, just so to make it perfectly clear. Councilwoman O'Donnell received a resignation letter from one of our zoning board members today, Wendell Nelson, and we're going to accept that resignation. And at the same time, we are going to move one of our alternates up to Wendell's position to fill his unexpired term. That alternate is William Stanton.
Yes.
And he is alternate number 1.
Present.
So now we have alternate number 1 vacant, and we looked at past applications to the zoning board.
Correct.
And it was presented to appoint Mr. Mark Parisi to that unexpired term for alternate number 1.
So I'll just reframe it. Mr. Stanton will be moving to Mr. Nansen's position, expiring in 2024. Mr. Parisi will be then filling in the alternate 1 position. All of these applications have been in. There's, nothing has just come in recently, so all of these people have applied for this position in the past, and when we reorganized as well. It's with really great regret that Mr. Nansen cannot return to the zoning board at this point in time. I wish him well, and hopefully in the very near future, we will see him in that seat again.
Yeah, and I would like to reiterate with what Evelyn said, that Chairman Nansen has been an exceptional public servant, and he's been on the zoning board for many, many, many years, and I know he's taken ill, and it's unfortunate for the township, and I wish him well. Anybody else have any other comments?
Just wish him well as well.
Yeah. Okay,
He's a
so
great chair.
with that said, with those resolutions in place, can we?
And I would also recommend that if it passes, we have to reach out and notify everybody that's been appointed.
Right, that'll come from the clerk,
resigned.
correct?
Correct. So
Okay.
I just want to make that
Yep.
clear, that obligation, we need to do that
Right.
as soon as we can.
Yes, awesome. Okay, with that said, I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilwoman?
Deputy Mayor, also, I would just like to ask the indulgence of the council to, in the very near future, to at least speak, perhaps we can get Mr. Nansen to come in and with some kind of a proclamation. I mean, he has decades of public service in the, not just zoning board, farmland preservation. He's been invaluable as a farmer himself. He offers information that, unless you farm, you certainly don't know. He has helped acquire properties for us to preserve. He really has been invaluable, and I would like to recognize him in the very near future.
Agreed, agreed, well
agree.
said. Yes, concur. Okay, with that said, Diane, would you please take a
Need a
roll call?
motion?
A motion. May I, so what's a motion? In a second?
Second.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I want to open up to public comment, I apologize. Would anyone like to come up and say anything? Okay, I'm going to make a motion to close public comment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And roll call, please.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution passes.
Great, thank you, guys, thank you for, I know you weren't there, we had to make a decision, so thank you for indulging us. Okay, Diane, will you please read the title of the ordinances for public hearing and possible adoption into the record?
Ordinance 22-44, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell.
I'll make the motion for, well, actually, we open it up, right?
We have to do public, we have to open up for public. So I'm going to open up public hearing on ordinance 22-44. If it's open, it's open. If anyone would like to come up and speak, please do so and state your name for the record. Seeing none, I'll close that portion.
All right, so I'll make the motion for
There you go.
ordinance 22-44.
Second?
Roll call, Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Clerk Festino, will you please read the title of the ordinance for public hearing and possible adoption into the record 02245?
Ordinance 22-45, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell.
I'd like to open up the public hearing for ordinance 22-45. Anyone like to come up and speak on behalf of this ordinance? Please do so now. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion to close?
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, Clerk Festino, will you please read the title of the ordinance?
Excuse me, I need a
I'm so
motion to
sorry.
adopt
I'm
ordinance
sorry.
22-45.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to adopt O-22-45.
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Can't forget you, right?
Close, not close.
Yes.
Close, not close. Roll call.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on 46, right?
Yes.
Okay. So will you please read the title of the ordinance for public hearing and possible adoption of 2246?
An ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use, Article 4, Standards of Performance, subsection 19, entitled Air, Water, and Environmental Considerations of General Applicability of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
I'd like to open up the public hearing for ordinance 22-46. Anyone like to speak? Please come up now. I'd like to close this section of public comment. May I have a motion?
Motion to close.
I'm sorry. I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-46?
I'll make a motion to adopt 022-46.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Clerk Festino, will you please read the title of the ordinance for public hearing and possible adoption into the record for 22-47?
An ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use, Article 10, Zones, subsection 65, entitled Enumeration of Districts of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
I'd like to open up this portion for public comment on ordinance 2247. Would anyone like to come up and speak? Seeing none, I'd like to close this portion of the public hearing. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2247?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-22-47.
I'll second.
Councilman Bonovich?
It's all right. Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Clerk Festino, will you please read the title of the ordinance for public hearing and possible adoption of 22-48?
An ordinance of the Township of Howell, supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 Zones, supplementing and modifying Section 188-79.1, entitled Special Economic Development -1 SED-1 Zone.
I'd like to open up this portion for public hearing on ordinance 22-48. Would anyone like to come up and speak? Seeing none, I'd like to close this portion of the public hearing.
Motion to close?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-48?
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-48.
May I have a second?
Second?
Roll call, Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Clerk Festino, will you please read the title of the ordinance for public hearing and possible adoption of ordinance 22-49 for the record?
An ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of Block 230, Lot 2, within the Township of Howell to zoning designation Special Economic Development 2, SCD-2.
I'd like to open up public hearing for ordinance 22-49, if anyone would like to speak. Finally getting the hang of it. Yeah? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to close this portion.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-49?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-22-49.
I have a second. Did you say second, John? You said second? It was very quiet.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Okay, Clerk Festina, will you please read into the title of the ordinance for public hearing and adoption, ordinance 2250, into the record?
An ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use, Article 12, Standards and Procedures for Site Plan Review, Section 107, subsection C, entitled Minimum Parking Requirements of General Applicability of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
I'd like to open up this portion for public hearing on ordinance 2250. Seeing none, I'd like to close this portion. May I have a motion?
Motion to close?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-50?
I'll make the motion to adopt ordinance 22-50.
Second.
I'll second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Will you please read the title of the ordinance for public hearing and possible adoption of ordinance 22-51 into the record?
An ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use, Attachment 1, Schedule 1, entitled Permitted Uses, Non-Residential Zones of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
I'd like to open up this public hearing on ordinance 22-51. Seeing none, I'd like to close this portion.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-51?
I'll
Make
make
a motion. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt 02251.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Please, will you read into the title of the ordinance for the public hearing and possible adoption of ordinance 22-52 into the record?
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending certain sections of the Township Code, including Chapter 139, Article 14, Section 26, Hazardous Spills Reimbursement Rates, Chapter 168, Article 1, Section 3, Definitions, Chapter 168, Article 1, Section 9, Changes in storage, use, or handling to be reported, and Chapter 168, Article 1, Section 14, Notification of business closure of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell.
Thank you. The public hearing is open for this ordinance, ordinance 22-52, if anyone would like to come up. Seeing none, I'd like to close this portion.
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-52?
I'll make a, go ahead.
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-52.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Is that the most ordinances?
Me?
There's,
I think in 4 years, yes, for me. No, that was a
Wait
lot.
until October.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're adorable.
We're just warming
Joe.
up.
Okay, so we're moving into the introductions. Clerk Festina, will you please read the title of the ordinance for introduction into the record for 22-59?
54.
I'm sorry, 54. I looked right at it and I saw.
An ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-54?
I'll make a
Motion.
motion to introduce 2254.
May I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Please read the title of the ordinance for introduction for 22-55.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Land Use, Article 22, Woodlands Management, Section 202, Tree Fund of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-55?
Motion to introduce ordinance 22-55.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Will you please read the title of the ordinance for introduction for ordinance 22-56?
Capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of a Polaris Ranger and appropriating $25,000 therefore, authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-56?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 22-56.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Will you please read the title of the ordinance for introduction for ordinance 22-57?
Capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of various equipment and improvements and appropriating $350,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-57?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 22-57.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you.
Will you please read the title of the ordinance for introduction of ordinance 22-58 for the record?
Capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of various equipment and appropriating $425,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-58?
A motion to introduce 2258.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Will you please read the title of the ordinance for introduction of ordinance 22-59 to the record?
Capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of replacement trucks and sewer improvements and appropriating $230,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-59?
I'll make a motion to introduce 0-22-59.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Will you please read the title of the ordinance of 22-60 for introduction into the record?
Bond ordinance providing for the Township's 2022 road improvement program, appropriating $2,200,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,090,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the costs thereof, authorized in and by the Township of Howell and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-60?
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance 22-60.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Will you please read the title of the ordinance 22-60 for introduction into the record?
An ordinance of Howell Township authorizing the acceptance by the township of a donation of certain real property designated as tax block 25, lot 41.01.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-61?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-22-61.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. Will you please read the title of the ordinance 22-62 for introduction into the record?
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 139, Article 5, Section 6, Special Service Charges, and Section 12, Miscellaneous Police Fees and Oprah Fees of the Township Code.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 22-62?
Motion to introduce 0-2262.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes. So we're up to the information, and I just need to just go back over with Mr. Clark. I'm going to give you another opportunity, even though you lied and said it was final.
No, this
Go ahead.
This really is first.
This is really is final.
First, I want to congratulate all of you. There was 18 ordinances either passed or introduced in one meeting. I think that is a record.
Thank
It
you.
was amazing.
Thank you, Mr. Murray.
Just a reminder, September 24th is Howell Day at Soldier Memorial Field, 3 to 8. October 1st, Baxter's Fishing Derby, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Echo Lake. PBA Oktoberfest, also October 1st. So thank you to Tina Smilek for reminding us of that. Fall Seedling Giveaway, DPW Garage, same day, October 19th, Halloween in the Park. Bring a can of food for the pets. October 25 through 30 is our Halloween week. So watch for the creature features and the decorating contest. And during that same week, on the 27th, New Jersey Natural Gas will be here in Town Hall for Energy Assistance Day.
Thank you, Mr. Clark, and you can find that information on our township Facebook page and eventually on our event calendar.
Yes.
Yes. So a couple of things. Thank you for Officer Kyle for being here, protecting and serving us. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. And again, thank you, council, thank you, professionals, for all, we did a lot of work. We've done a lot of work and couldn't have done it without each other, so thank you for that. The next meeting, regularly scheduled council meeting, will take place Tuesday,
Yep.
Tuesday, September 13th.
That's today.
That's today. Executive, what?
The next meeting will be October 18th.
That's not what it says here.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay, Diane, I wasn't looking to embarrass you. I said it twice, and I'm going to myself, okay, well, if Diane did it. Anyway.
Well, we like this meeting so much.
Rewind that
we're
tape. Rewind that tape. The next council meeting is?
Tuesday, October 18th.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. Seeing no further business before the council, may I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn?
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.